I'm Kate.
I'm Elle.
We are down to Fae, and today we're diving into Empire of Storms chapters 42 through 49. We don't have any Tower of Dawn again this week. I feel like I'm going to totally forget where we were with like what Chaos doing.
Honestly, Kale's kind of healing, so I don't know if there's
He's in his
anything
healing era.
right. Like it's just kind of a continuation. We aren't really missing anything.
Well, we don't have many updates this week either. Just are you reading anything new or watching anything new?
Actually, to be really boring, I'm not reading anything new. I've been listening to Harry Potter.
Yeah. So, like, what
As
are
like
you
a
going
palate
through? Because I feel
cleanser.
like that is a very specific something going on in your life.
I don't know. Sometimes like just when I'm really busy at work, I've had things I'm like just outside things. It's like calming and relaxing for
Yeah.
me. Like it's something when I was in school that I would listen to, or like I wouldn't listen to it then. Sorry, it's too far back. But I would read it as like a study break.
hmm
So I don't know.
Like
But
Harrison Ford, like your comfort.
look, I like what I like. It works.
Well, thanks for asking. I'm almost done with Caught Up, and that is the second book in the Into the Darkness trilogy. It's the same world as Lights. I mean, obviously, it's the same world as Lights Out because it's just like the world. And it's very spicy. I don't know if it's because I'm obsessed with Jacob Morgan. And I do, it's Teddy Hamilton who is the narrator for the second one. I'm just not enjoying it as much. I don't know, like it's not as funny. Like there was something about Lights Out, and I don't know if it was the narrator Jacob Morgan or if it was the writing for the character Josh, but it's not hitting the same.
Is it the character himself? Like, is it just darker?
Well,
Like he a
not
darker
really.
character?
One of my biggest, and I don't even want to say criticisms because I am enjoying it. I don't want to like be shitty, but something I'm not a fan of is in both of the books, like Lights Out and Caught Up, the FMC's jobs are such a major part of their personalities. Like Allie in Lights Out, 70% of her personality was being a nurse. And then Lauren, who's the FMC in the second book, she is they don't say OnlyFans, but she's an OnlyFans creator, which that doesn't bother me. Like I love seeing sex work represented in a way that like she's not desperate. Like she's not doing it as a last resort. She's a confident businesswoman. But her job and her sex work advocacy is so much of the book. Like we hear more about what she is doing for advocating for sex workers than we do about the mafia.
Okay. How
And
far into the book are you?
I'm like 70% in.
Oh, okay. I mean,
And
not that it's not important, but that's a lot of one topic to focus on.
well, if it were a romance book about me, first of all, it'd be so fucking boring. But there would be maybe a couple lines at the beginning explaining like where I am from 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, but that would be it. I don't know if that's sad because I don't have a passion cuz like those two FMCs are so passionate about their jobs. I don't have a dream job. I don't dream of labor. Maybe it's just me, but I'm just like we're talking about her job a lot. And the premise itself is kind of hard for me to believe. Like the MMC, his name is Junior, or his like nickname is Junior, and he dated the FMC Lauren in high school briefly, and then a jealous friend found out and posted her diary. And I can't remember now if there were like intimate photos, but it was definitely like publicly slut shamed her. And so then Junior's dad and Lauren's dad were against them being together. So Junior, to air quote protect her, said it never happened, like around school. And everyone had already seen her diary entry. So they just assumed it was like fan fiction that she was like making up that she was hooking up with this guy. And it made her look fucking insane. And she was bullied so badly, she had to change schools.
That's really sad.
Well, so it's kind of also a second chance romance, but there hasn't been enough groveling.
Yeah, you're gonna have to really make up for that.
Well, and he spent the last decade, okay? Decade as a subscriber on her OnlyFans. He's like obsessed with her, but stayed away for a decade. Like even Romeo and Juliet, those two idiots, defied their parents. Like you're telling me they dated for like a month or less in high school, and he's been obsessed with her for 10 years, but hasn't acted on it just because their parents didn't want them to be together.
I mean, like the moment you were 18, you couldn't come apologize or do something.
I don't like I just have to suspend belief, which is crazy in like a regular contemporary romance. And I've seen some reviews that are saying that it's too woke, which I don't agree with that. A character existing with they them pronouns isn't woke to me, but there's a lot of like generational trauma, toxic masculinity in the mafia, Catholicism, Italian culture. Like it's very, I don't know how to describe it. Like there are very strong, obvious things that she's trying to get across, the author, you know?
Hmm.
And it's pulled the story in a very different direction than Lights Out, which was like a rare, regular, not fantasy or supernatural book that I loved. It's just not, it's very different to me. And I've been trying to think of why regular romance just doesn't hit the same as fantasy or supernatural for me at least. My credentials are I'm mentally ill and I took one psychology class in college. It's too easy for me to project my personal experiences and my trauma, my hangups onto contemporary romance. Like it's harder for me to suspend my belief, which I know sounds insane when we're talking about fae and vampires and shifters, but if it's set in my world, I know the rules and patterns.
Yeah.
Like it's somehow easier for me to believe that a 500-year-old fae prince has been pining after the FMC for 10 years than it is for me to believe, like in Caught Up, for example, a man in the mafia has been secretly pining after his high school fling for 10 years. It's just, and it's easier to ignore red flags because there's this degree of separation, this buffer. Like, I don't know any shifters or vampires, unfortunately. But
What?
if I wanted to date a guy in the mafia, I'd just go to New Jersey and start dating a guy in waste management. Like, it's like it's actually a possibility.
Right.
And I don't want to read romances set in places that I've been. Like, I don't want to read a romance in Detroit or a cowboy romance. If I wanted to date a cowboy, I would have just stayed in my hometown and waited for the first round of divorces. I like fated mates because of my abandonment issues. I love vampires because like I'm sustaining you. You need me. It's predator and prey. And it's like morally gray, love triangle. All the tropes just work better in a fantasy setting for me. And that's just like my personal preference. I want to escape, I want to disassociate, and I can't do that if it's too close to reality. I don't know if that makes sense, but like that's just as I was reading the as I've been reading Caught Up, there are things that I'm just like, this would work better if he were a vampire, you
Well,
know?
no, but it does make sense because even then, when I was like, why didn't he just wait till he was 18 and go talk to her? Like,
Right. I mean,
once
I know that
it's
it was like, "Oh, I don't want my dad to go." I'm like, "You really think your dad would have just killed her to keep you from dating?" Like, she was this, like, nerdy girl, this nerdy good girl.
what's she got to do with she's not gonna hurt the mafia.
I
Like, why
have
would your
no
dad care?
idea. I don't know. I don't even know anything about her dad.
It really just feels like, I guess, when it's not in a fantasy realm, it does hit too close to home and you
Yeah.
can visualize it too realistically. So then it's harder, like you were saying, to suspend belief because you're like, but why not just blah, blah, blah. But hey, if they're cross country traveling on a
Mhm.
quest, there's magic, like it's not the same. Anything could happen. Just
Right.
wide
Well,
open.
it's like if I wanted to read about women being stalked, I'd just, like, watch the news,
Yikes.
you know?
But true.
It's not as cute when it's in a contemporary
Oh my
setting.
God. Just open Facebook and look at that group. Are we dating
Are
the
we
same
dating the
guy?
same guy? There are right now in Nashville these like little posters that have a QR code and it's pictures of guys and it's like, are we dating the same guy?
Oh shoot. I haven't seen those. That's
Yeah,
funny.
there's one in the roundabout. I just
Gosh.
think that's so funny. But yeah, I loved Lights Out. I like Caught Up. It's just it's harder for me to completely like fall into it, you know?
Yeah, in general, it just the romances I've read that have not been fantasy, they have been a lot of fun, but they've all been very like 50 Shades. Like the guy is somehow
Yes.
a billionaire in his 20s, and you're like,
Mhm. Mhm. Well,
okay,
yeah, exactly. It's like
fly me away somewhere,
if he's a
whatever.
Fey prince and I'm like, "Okay, that makes sense." Like he's going to be king and he has that but if it's just like a guy,
A guy? Come
I
on.
like no thank you. But I do like Nocticadia. Like there are a few that I've really liked, but maybe I'm just reading the wrong ones.
I just like that escape. Like even with the Harry Potter, there's not romance, obviously, but it's whimsical, it's so
Mhm.
different, it's so fun, it's relaxing if I've been like worried about deadlines all week. It's just
Yeah.
something different.
Well, and like enemies to lovers is one of my favorite tropes. It's everyone's favorite trope. But
obviously.
it's if it's in a contemporary setting, it's like, "Oh, I hate that guy that I work with." That's not an enemy, that's just a guy you don't like. An enemy is, "I'm an assassin and you're my target, and now we've fallen in love."
Really, yep. I'm a witch, you're a witch hunter. There's a problem here.
Exactly. Like, it just hits different. We also got an email from someone in Anaheim, like, exotic, and it didn't have a name. So, like, when it comes through where we post our podcast, that website, it never has a name. But
Oh.
they were like, "Have you ever heard the theory that Tamlin and Amarantha were mates, but he denied the bond?" And
I
I, like, thank you for putting that in my head because 'cause I've been obsessing about it, and I will have a full dissertation in a future episode because honestly, maybe
I
I could
feel
see
like
it.
I may have seen something about that somewhere simply because she's so spiteful with him and, like,
Yeah.
can't let it
Well,
go,
you
but
have Reese right there, and you're obsessed with Tamlin?
it also makes you think of, like, Zodiac Academy in the same, like, they denied a bond, but then they were still pulled towards each other.
Yeah.
I would be interested in hearing some more
Well,
detail.
and but then you're like, "Okay, but Tamlin kept waiting for the bond to snap into place with Feyre." Would he have thought that that was a possibility if he knew that he had had that bond with Amarantha? Because you don't get another one, right, just because your mate dies?
Or did Amarantha think they had the bond and it didn't snap into place, so
Maybe.
that's why she, like, couldn't let it go, but he was like, "Girl."
Well, you know what's even creepier is she knew him when he was a kid.
Yeah, but I feel like I was about to say, like, if you think about somebody being that age, because that's realistic.
Yeah.
In a world where people can be immortal or live really, really long lives, I guess that's not that unreasonable.
Well, see, another thing that it works better in a fantasy setting. So, like, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, the new season is out, and one of the girls, Demi, the guy she's married to, so he used to be married to someone who's on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, but he is I don't remember how much older he is, like maybe 18 years, which isn't a huge deal, but it was a family friend, meaning he knew her when she was a child. And so, like, when I hear that Amarantha knew Tamlin, I'm like, that's gross, but, you know, they live hundreds of years. When I hear that it in real life, that someone knew someone as a child when they were, like, teens or 20s, that grosses me out.
Yeah, because then you
But she's
ask,
also a bitch.
okay, well, it changes things. Well, just like that's when it gets kind of weird because you're like, how often were you hanging out when they were a child or like a
Right.
teenage girl?
Like, she had a crush on him when she was a kid, which is so funny to go back. Do you ever go back and think about when you were a kid, like, in, like, early teens, like 12, 13, 14, and you're wearing, like, your tankinis, and you really think you have a shot with, like, the lifeguards? Or, like, you're trying your best to look cute, and they're, like, looking at you like this little kid?
Look, you know what? According to the TV show Undressed, this
Yeah.
this was a
It really set us
possibility.
well, your screen was probably fuzzy because your parents always blocked MTV,
They tried so hard to keep me from all the bad things.
and you're just, like, nose to the TV watching.
I just need to know.
Also, last week, I was talking about someone on Spotify commented, I don't know who I think I am not naming people, but it was Megan on Spotify who thought of the word wistful. And I just love talking to people like Brooke is reading Flesh and Fire. Fucking love that. Kaz is sending us memes all the time. Nancy is reading Black Dagger Brotherhood. Like, I just love talking to y'all.
You know, and we talked about this last week with the wistful comment. And I think at the moment when we had been describing Fenris, I probably had been thinking covet, but wistful also makes a lot of
Mhm.
sense. And then this week when we talk about Fenris and
Yes.
just it was definitely wistful. Like once they're on the
Mhm.
ship and Aylin's healing him.
But I do
So
want to
good.
also have a convo about the podcast. Just like we were talking to someone else who has a podcast and they are moving away from the deep dive format. And I want everyone to weigh in on, do you like the chapter by chapter deep dive? Do we go too deep? Like, should we have segments? Like, especially before we get into Kingdom of Ash and then when we get into ACOTAR, I just want everyone to let me know what you think. Because, like, should we go back to doing book reviews in the beginning sometimes? Just I don't know. I don't know. I don't want people to open it up and be like, "Holy shit, 2 hours on 8 chapters. That's crazy." Or do you like going this deep? So just DM us thoughts, opinions, prayers. And don't be afraid to hurt my feelings cuz like my mom will always be my biggest op. You don't have to worry about that. So just let us
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what you guys think.
Yeah, I would yeah, I do like when we do some of the deep dive, like, from my perspective, just because there's things about a scene I hadn't thought about until we start
Yeah.
talking about it, so I like
I think that
hearing
too, but I'm like, are we just those 2 girls that are always saying, "Exactly," and then no one else
That's you know what
cares?
else is interesting? Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at the same time, if you would prefer that we're doing kinda like
Like
an
segments
or
or
like a summary and then hitting bullet points,
Mhm.
like, maybe we are going too deep, maybe we're just rambling
We're
about
just
things that
so deep.
everybody's like, "Duh,
Yeah, so just let us know
we
what you
already
guys
got
think.
that." Well, today we pick back up in Empire of Storms, chapter 42, with Manon waking aboard Aylin's ship, currently on the way to the stone marshes of Eelway to find the capital L lock.
And I am so interested in hell, like 1L hell, 2L hell. Hells? But the whatever the hell realm is in the mass verse, because when she first wakes, Manon is thinking she might be in the hell realm that the humans fear. And that sounds closest to like our perception of hell IRL, just like somewhere you're scared to go. But hell, capital H, 1L in Crescent City is where the princes of hell live. And they end up being the good guys, or at least for now, because their goals aligned with the good guy agenda. But it seems to be a different planet because there's that scene where Bryce, it's at the end of House of Sky and Breath. Bryce finds that room in the Crystal Palace and it has all the places that the Asteri have taken over, like tried to take over in Hell's case, and it was a different planet. So I'm just wondering, like, is Hell and Hell are they the same place? Because if they are somehow connected, there's some pretty big implications with how this series ends. You know what I'm saying? Because like we're spoiler
Yeah.
free, so I'm not going to say. But the way that this series ends, I'm like, if hell is hell, that's pretty major.
But also thinking about Hellas, the god
Yeah,
that has blessed
but
Lorcan.
actually isn't connected to hell.
Yeah, but, like, and the way the magic is very dark and the darkness, it does bring up more questions like, what does this mean? What does this
Mhm.
actually in this context mean? Manon is not in hell, though. She is chained up in a cabin on the ship with bandages on her stomach from Aelin pulling out the iron splinters that were left by her grandmother's rusty ass nails.
And the last thing she remembers is being attacked by the Bloodhound and telling Abraxos to find somewhere safe. I just wonder how Abraxos found this ship. Like the most obvious would be scent, but it could also be fate because we just heard flame and iron together bound merge into silver to learn what must be found from Deanna. So that's suspicious timing that is exactly when Manon shows up. So like was fate guiding Abraxos?
Yeah, I do wonder
Because
what.
how would he be able to send them that far away?
Yeah, I don't know. Now I'm thinking that through too. Just like, how did he end up there? How did he think to find them? Did he even know he was looking for them?
Mhm.
Or there's just something very specific on the wind, kind of leading him in a
Yeah.
direction?
Well, she also says, "I told him to find somewhere safe," but I thought she just said, "Get us to the coast."
Mm,
Does that
shoot.
sound right?
I think she said find somewhere safe.
Oh, okay.
I'd have to go back
Maybe that
and
was before she passed out the first time.
honestly, I have stopped and started and re-listened to the chapter so many times that out
Mhm.
of context, I'm like, shoot, where did I see that? So either way, he really took that direction. Speaking of that fussy nursemaid of a wyvern, he's sprawled on the deck enjoying the sun. He's not a prisoner, but Manon is.
And Manon can see a difference in Aelin. Their meeting in Oakwald wasn't that long ago, but so much has happened since then, like shattering the glass castle, freeing magic, the Lords of Terrasen swiping left on her. That just happened in Skulls Bay. Aelin has had to grow up. Like she already had to grow up really quickly, just in general, but she's really had to grow up in the past couple of months or even the past couple of weeks.
The rules for Manon are try to escape, die, hurt anyone, die.
Manon's like, "Don't tempt me with a good time," because she is depressed. Like, she's thinking, "Even if I do escape right now, where am I gonna go? Like, I can't go back to the Iron Teeth. I don't know where the 13 are." She's a lot like Chaol, lost her whole identity.
Oh my gosh, it was
And
like
Dorian, like, it's just like
ripped
they're
from
kind
her.
of starting fresh, like, starting new.
She's way too exhausted to deal with that right now.
Yeah,
Poor
she is
Manon.
also just very tired.
Manon sleeps for 3 days, Aelin and Rowan healing her a little bit at a time with Dorian's quote help.
AKA watching her sleep like Edward, which if you read Midnight Sun, he said that he liked watching Bella sleep because he was so anxious that something would happen, like a meteor would fall on her.
Okay.
And then he also was getting used to the scent of her blood. And there's a scene where he kills a spider and he's, like, doing maintenance work around the house. It's so funny to see his POV. Like, it's still creepy, and it is, like, to creep around, like, he's doing maintenance because he doesn't want things to creak, so he's, like, oiling hinges. But it's just funny to watch him, like, go about his business while she's asleep.
It's like, yeah, really creepy, but he's meaning it well, maybe. Two of Rolf's ships are escorting them down the coast of Eelway, and after weathering a huge storm, they're finally nearing Bunjali.
Dorian is reminded of Nehemia, wondering if things had not gone so wrong, would she be on this ship right now? He's also wondering if that word mark that she sketched over his chest way back in Crown of Midnight was that what awakened his magic. And I honestly don't know the answer to that because that's what I thought had happened until Dorian's father said that because Dorian had his blood, that's why the spell that banished magic didn't work on him. And it's always been weird to me that Nehemia didn't use blood when she was making the word mark like we see Aelin have to do, but she did something similar at the end of book 1 during the duel with Cain, and it did work because she was just kind of tracing him in the air then, and it clearly unlocked a door for Elena to come through. So I don't know if Nehemia had a part in unlocking Dorian's magic because in theory he should have had it all along, but then right after that is when we first see it manifest.
Well, I have two thoughts along those lines. One, we never actually found out if Nehemia had magic because magic had been gone from the continent for so long.
Mhm.
Maybe there was something about magic she should normally have that was different when she used the word marks. And even though she didn't have
Yeah,
access to her magic, her doing the word marks in a certain way made it different.
maybe.
That might be grasping at straws.
Well, and she because she's from Eelway, they have, like, a deeper connection to word marks for whatever reason, probably because of, like, where we're about to visit in the Stone Marshes, there could be a connection there, but
Yeah, Eelway is also unique, and without giving spoilers, as we learn more about the southern continent and like who originally settled where, I wonder if some of that could play into her potential magic or why they
Mhm.
still study the word marks so closely.
Yeah.
But my other thought also is before Dorian kills his dad is saying like that Dorian showed signs of having magic as a child, but this is the first time that he's really showing it again. So I'm wondering if his dad in some way did some kind
Locked
of,
it?
yeah, word mark of his own to just
Maybe.
lock it away, like to protect him, but
Mhm.
not like banish it forever. And then Nehemia just did like the rest of the word
Yeah.
mark to complete it and open it. Or I do think she did something
No, I think that makes sense.
because when they were talking at that dance, he could feel a change
Mhm.
as she did the word mark. I just
When he
don't,
was looking out the window at Chaol and
yeah.
Selena, and he was like, "They'll be together forever."
Oh, just like poor baby. He was really
I
realizing that
know.
he just didn't have a chance. Dorian, aka Princeling, is
I love that. I love Princeling and Witchling.
I mean, I love that he's also using it to kind of pull her out of her what is the word? Like, not
Her
funk,
depressive state.
it's kind of like a spiral she starts to fall into, and he's like, "Okay, she's a little bit too
It's a
close to the
lot
edge
like
right
what
now."
Adian when Lysandra was stuck in that form, and he was like, "Maybe I can flirt her out of it."
Well, actually, even Lorcan and Elide,
Mhm.
um, maybe it was 2 episodes ago where he was asking what was in the dungeons, and she wasn't ready to talk about it, and he's like, "Ooh, I pushed her a little far."
Yeah.
He's like, "I'll get her a bath."
That's how you know this is fantasy, they're very perceptive.
Everybody's paying attention to people's emotions. But Dorian, aka Princeling, is on watch with Manon, aka Witchling, in her room and when she wakes again. He gives her water and fills her in on what she missed, leaving out the part where he's the one who jumped into the water after she fell off Abraxos.
When Dorian asks if she's hungry, those golden eyes, the eyes of the Vogue kings, shift to his throat.
Hey.
And she tells him the Vogue and Erewhon are her enemies. So Dorian asks, "Does that make us allies?" But instead of answering, she asks about Elide.
Dorian doesn't know, but shouldn't, as the even like the Prince of Otterland, shouldn't he be aware of the nobles from other
You know,
kingdoms?
Dorian wasn't paying attention in his little prince classes. He was only like, okay, I need my table manners.
Well, I guess by the time they took down Terrace, he would have only been like 9 or 10, and those nobles wouldn't have mattered
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, the last time Manon, that's actually a good point. I think of that. He probably should know who the rightful heir is. But the last time Manon saw Elide was when she dropped off in Oakwald Forest to find Aelin. So finding Aelin and not finding Elide is concerning. Manon also asked about the 13, but Dorian hasn't heard any news. They didn't even know about Manon's split from the Blackbeaks.
Bless his heart, he tries to be like, "Well, we're out to sea, so it's hard to get news." And she's like, "I can hear the gulls that say we're not far out to sea, but
Yeah.
okay." Dorian asks what happened, but Manon just says that everything has a price, and sensing her falling back into depression, he tries a little medicinal flirting.
Like when she asks for food, he says, "It's coming. I mean, it'd be a shame to lose the most beautiful woman in the world." That would work on me. I'd be like, "What? I'm not depressed anymore."
What, you mean me? I haven't even
Me?
had a bath recently, thank you.
I am so I that's one thing that just takes me out of these books is I'm thinking about like when he's in her face and everything, I'm like, "Oh." And later on when someone gets their period and I'm like, me going weeks without a bath, having a period would not be great.
And having leather pants that don't breathe. I know
No.
there's certain things we just can't take too literally. I can't think about it. Manon points out that she's not a woman, but which woman, as long as the parts that matter are there, what's the difference? The next morning, Adian brings in food.
And he's like, hey, I'm Adian. I would have killed you and your wyvern if it had been up to me. Enjoy your stew, bitch."
Manon picks up on the fact that Adian said it was Aelin who ordered her not to be killed and asks why Dorian doesn't give orders.
But there's no one he'd rather have guard his back than Aelin, except Kaol, but he has to stop himself from thinking about his BFF. And there are a couple moments where both Aelin and Dorian think about Kaol, and they're like, "It's fine. He's off getting us armies." It's like, not yet.
I mean, like, you can't worry about it though, because you have no control over it. It's
Well,
just like, hope this works.
and you could look at it as Aelin being bossy, but at no point has Dorian stepped up as far as leadership goes. It's not like she's like, "Shut up, Dorian."
Yeah. But I mean, like, Dorian is just out of being possessed and like trying to deal with everything. And then his kingdom was just taken from him.
Mhm.
So I kind of get feeling like if I was Dorian, I'd be like, I feel like I don't have any say here. I have nothing to back up anything I'm trying to do. And I have less experience with my magic. I
Mhm.
am just getting started. Dorian apologizes if saving him was what caused the split with her grandmother, and Manon explains the cost of what happened in Rifthold was the life of her second, and she refused to pay it. But if Dorian can find news about the 13, Manon says that she is his to command.
After hearing the name Elide, little Elide, Aelin and Adian storm into Manon's room demanding answers, but Manon is in and out of sleep, dreaming of a time she helped the matron carve up a handsome bearded man. That part was so vague because the way I read it was Manon was in the room when her father was killed, maybe? I can't tell if it's like she's thinking about it, like just imagining what that had been like, but it's
Yeah.
also like I'm she's having the dream not as the girl she was at the time, but as the woman she is now. So that makes me think she was there.
I think my first thought was that, having heard about something and then you dream about it later, it's all just because it was brought up and she's just thinking about it.
Mhm.
But her grandmother did say that her dad searched for her. So, like,
It's possible
her
that
yeah, because her mom died when she was born or around that time frame, but her dad didn't, so he could have actually come across them.
yeah, I
She
can't
could have
tell.
seen it. I don't know, that's a kind of a really sad thought. Hopefully she didn't have to witness that.
But who gives a shit because it's time to live, laugh, Lorcan. I'm living for the Lorcan chapters. I am so like I always liked the Lorcan chapters, but this reread, that storyline is my favorite.
I think doing a reread with you is helping me to have more of an interest in Lorcan. I didn't really hate him, I just didn't think enough
There's
about
so
him
many sweet
before.
moments.
I think it's the fact that you find humor in all of his little bitty,
Oh, I
like,
think he's
his little
hilarious.
nuances, like, help to, like, make it more interesting for me because I hadn't thought enough about him before. I apologize, Lorcan. Although Elide is impressing me because when I think about this series before my reread, I remember thinking of her as being kind of meek. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but, like, now that I'm doing the reread, I'm like, "This girl is sassy, and
Mhm.
she is not playing around." One good thing about doing the reread. 3 days after the Ilkin attack, where Lorcan learned Elide's real first name, The troop has arrived in a small town.
It's hard for Lorcan not to just constantly watch Elide because she's taking in the world. This is a girl who spent her life chained and locked in a tower. Then she was in Morath. Like, it's easy to forget how little life experience Elide has because she is so perceptive and cunning. But she hasn't actually been around that many people. She hasn't seen anything.
You know, she's really good at reading people for
She
somebody with
for someone who hasn't been around
almost no
anyone.
like, her people experience was, like, when she was a child.
Right. And Lorcan has been using his magic to keep her foot stabilized, and sometimes it brushes up against what we know is the word key. But Lorcan hasn't pushed to see it since the night that he found that line he wasn't going to cross. It wasn't really a line, it's more a person. You know? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think if it was anybody else who'd had the word key, he would have already killed him and taken it. It's not that. It's Elide.
Yeah, the line is very specific to Elide. Lorcan follows Elide down to the river docks.
And this is the section I talked about a couple weeks ago where some people think that Lorcan visited Valaris. This is that paragraph.
Oh.
So, looking at the barge, they're in this small town with the troop. Looking at the barge, Lorcan recalls a kingdom he saw 300 years ago that relied on barges to transport goods. Its name eludes him, but he wonders if it's still tucked away between two mountain ranges on the other side of the world. It's a stretch, but Empire of Storms and Akamath did both come out in the same year, 2016. So is it like Lorcan can't remember? Because it sounds like he could be describing Valaris. Can he not remember the name because of the spell? Is the river he's thinking of the river we know in Akatar? Like in the mountains that surround Valaris, there are barges because there's that big end of summer party on a barge where Amren and Nesta had their falling out. Like, I don't think this is proof of Lorcan world walking, but it is a multiverse and their worlds are allegedly stacked on top of each other, so anything is possible. It is kind of fun.
I don't know if I've ever heard that theory that this could have been Valaris that Lorcan saw. Like,
I don't think it is, but I love any theory,
I mean,
honestly.
we don't know yet exactly how Throne of Glass links to Akatar. So,
Mhm.
like, it's not
Well,
impossible.
and just knowing what we know about another character, could he have traveled with them, you know?
Ooh, I don't know. Knowing the incoming storm will drive the merchants and sailors inside, Elide and Lorcan go on a pub crawl for some hot goss.
And Lorcan is so impressed with Elide. He's like, I wonder if Maeve would find her useful. But then immediately, just thinking about Elide and Maeve's hands, it bothers him.
Good.
So being out in the world outside of Maeve and even the cadre's little bubble, it's helping Lorcan gain perspective. Like, we're seeing that with all of these characters. But if you're in love with a woman, but you would be scared letting someone you care about be around them, that's a red flag. You should think deeper on that.
It's really like this is the first time he's questioned any. This is literally like the first time that he's questioned any of his thoughts about Maeve.
Mhm.
And if it hadn't been for Elide, he wouldn't have. So that's how long have you been with her, Lorcan? Like
Right.
500 years?
Well, he hasn't been with her at all. He's just been following her around.
You know what I mean, but that's really sad. They overhear what happened in Rifthold, which is now under occupation of the witches on behalf of Duke Parrington. They assume Dorian is alive because why make a declaration about him not being king if he's dead?
And Lorcan is internally panicking at the thought of his and Elide's paths. In theory, they're about to split. He's going to go south to Morath, and she's going to go north. Only, as they learn, Aelin isn't in Terrasen. Rumors say Aelin was fucking shit up in Ilium, then Skull's Bay, but no one knows where she's traveling now. And there's a betting pool if she'll go to Wendlin or Eelway, or I can't remember what some of the other guesses were, but there's clearly a little bit of fate or a hand on Elide's shoulder, because I would totally have been like, oh yeah, Wendlin makes sense.
Wendlin does make more sense. Elide's gut tells her Eelway, but she needed help just getting to Terrasen. She doesn't know how she's going to get all the way to Eelway on her own.
Lorcan offers to get her a map. Really, he just wants her. He's like, please ask me to stay. But she confesses she's on Book 1 Feyre's reading level. Her nursemaid was illiterate and her uncle stopped her lessons. She can't, even if she had a map. You know what? That has nothing to do with reading. I also wouldn't be able to use a map. But she's fucking embarrassed, and Lorcan's like, "You've done pretty well surviving without it," and she smiles. But that's when his magic picks up the men heading their way, never a good sign. Probably because the carnies betrayed him. We don't ever get confirmation on that, but it's pretty obvious.
Lorcan gives Elite a choice, and she chooses the one that involves him picking her up.
I love how many times he just like picks her up and starts running.
At least he asked her first, and then they run to the river and steal a barge.
They jump on the barge, and Elide promises the owner that if he helps them get out of the city, they'll set him free on the other side of the city gates. Lorcan and Elide hide, and once they're clear, Elide hears a splash, and Lorcan's like, "Goodbye!" Oh, the man, he's swimming to shore. He's fine.
Yeah, because people just do that. But the splash was actually Lorcan dumping the man's body.
To be fair, she promised that she would set him free. Lorcan did not make any promises. And Lorcan seems to be able to scent intention.
Yeah.
I don't know what part of his magic that would be, or if like that's a natural when someone's lying. You know, like what do the police do? That test that like your heart rate, the lie detector test.
Yeah.
Like I wonder if there's also a scent component to lying.
I don't know, because like the other Fae males too, though, they'll talk about they can sense somebody's feelings and emotions. So maybe that guy was being deceptive, or like there was too much fear or something. But also right before Elide realizes he's dead, she was starting to think like maybe we shouldn't set him free. Like this could be bad. Like, duh. But she is furious, and as the word key in her jacket begins to stir, Lorcan finally puts everything together.
I think this scene is so funny. Like, Lorcan tears apart the Timu amulet of Orant that he's been carrying this whole time, thinking he has a word key, but he finds the word stone ring inside. He throws it so hard, it clears the river and gouges out a chunk of a tree. And he's just like roaring. And then Elide asks, "Why don't you just slit my throat and take it?" And Lorcan is saying, like, if you have a problem with me killing this random man that definitely would have betrayed us, you're gonna love your queen, Adarlan's assassin.
Which is actually, I'm very proud of Elide here, because knowing that I can't even read a map and I'm weak and defenseless with like a bum ankle, and this guy is showing so much power that he just took a gouge out of a tree from a distance, I'd be like,
and she stands right up to him.
I know, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't piss him off right now. I'm depending on him a lot. And she's like, oh, okay. Like she just goes in with it head first. He reveals that Celaena Sardathian, the one that she's supposed to deliver the word key to, is Aelin.
And everything he's saying is true, but he's so mad. Like, Aelin did spend time as Celaena. Rowan did turn into a simp for her. Like, he's just kind of unloading all of this, but he's intentionally trying to hurt her. He's just like, he's saying it in the most brutal way possible. And so she fucking destroys him. And it's, people are always saying like Lorcan's a bastard. I don't think he's ever cared before now.
Yeah.
Like this really hurts him because he cares what she thinks about him. She says, "I was wrong about us being the same because we don't have family and friends. I don't have them because of circumstance. You don't have them because everyone fucking hates you. And all of your ranting about Aelin and Rowan only shows how jealous, lonely, unhappy, and pathetic you are." I mean, and he's just standing there like the man emoji.
The way that she just read him for filth, though, like, Elide, you're so perceptive, because I didn't feel like they'd had enough situations together for her to like understand that about him. But
he's so lonely.
Called him out so hard. Call Aelin a murderer and a thief and a liar, but Elide is holding judgment until she meets her.
That is very not adult.
It's very mature.
It's very mature. Because my mind would be spiraling to like, you're telling me while I was locked in that tower, she was prancing around Rifthold as Adarlan's assassin? I mean, we know that's not what she was really doing, but that was the perception of her.
I mean, you're thinking that. I'm thinking like, wow, I have nothing to offer. I would be panicking like, oh shit, I've gambled everything on trying to find this person. Then now I'm like, should I find this person?
Yeah, exactly.
So like she handles it very like she doesn't panic. She's very much like, you know what? You just chill out a second. Let me meet her first, which she will do as soon as she gets to Eelway. So pull over.
Yeah, she's like, pull up, like, okay, what are you gonna do?
She literally just had the thought that she couldn't even get to Terrasen and how she could get to Eelway, and now she's like, I'll figure it out.
But Lorcan just keeps pushing the barge forward because, as it turns out, he now has business with Aelin. So congratulations, wife. You just got yourself a guide to Eelway. And she goes, still and molten. And it's like,
What? In Lorcan's POV, he's daydreaming of all the ways he could kill Aelin.
I know it's so toxic, but I just think the Lorcan Aelin dynamic is so funny. Like, she left a little note in the amulet that said, "Here's hoping you discover more creative terms than bitch to call me when you find this, with all my love."
I think that is funny.
It's so
I
funny.
mean, is it toxic? Like, she's clearly pushing his buttons and
Yeah.
he's throwing a little tantrum. We wonder why Lorcan didn't make them swear a blood promise that the amulet was real.
I did wonder that because he did for them. So I do remember when we were reading that in, I guess, Queen of Shadows, I was like,
He clearly thought he had the upper hand in
Yeah.
this, and so he didn't even
like,
consider
did you
that they could.
underestimate them?
Yeah, just a little bit. Didn't even consider they could be manipulating him,
Mhm.
but especially since they made him swear for Athral's ring. At least he stole
Yeah.
the ring back.
I'm sorry, but Lorcan thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna find Aelin for a lead, and I'll make the queen crawl before the end of it." That is so sexy. Like, if
What?
we're talking real enemies to lovers, Aelin and Lorcan.
Oh, I was like, how are you going to find somebody for me that I'm clearly setting my hopes on, and then you're going to torture her
but
in
I'm
front
gonna
of
make
me?
the queen crawl? Like, I love Lorcan and Elide, Aelin and Rowan. Like, I love all these couples. I also like to think of alternate universe pairings.
Okay.
Like Lysandra and Rhys, for some reason, I think would work really well. Like Nesta and Manon.
Okay.
I'm thinking for like Dorian and Elaine would be really sweet, but also maybe Chaol and Elaine. I don't know who I'd put Adian with. Maybe Bryce.
Oh God.
I don't know.
They
Like,
would be so annoying
who
together.
could
Both of them so
handle
sassy.
who could handle Bryce? I don't know who Adian could be with.
Well, Adian is very much like
Az?
Rune. Oh, okay. I was thinking more like Lydia, but okay.
Ooh, yeah. Adian and Lydia would be very good.
Unless they're related somehow. Who knows?
Oh, you know what?
There's so many fan theories out there. Who
No,
knows?
you're right, because her son was named after Brannon. But that would be
But he's not related
Aelin's
to Brannon.
father's side. Yeah, you're right.
So maybe
No.
it's still okay.
Yeah, it's
Far
okay.
enough cousins.
I mean, technically, Rowan and Aelin are related. We're just turning a blind eye.
You know, I really kind of like Lysandra, maybe with Az. I could see that.
That would be good. They both had a lot of trauma.
I feel like I've heard somewhere that Az is a dom, and like,
Why do we projected so much
sexy.
onto Az as a fandom, because we don't know anything about that man, but we're like, yeah, he's definitely
because his
like a whips and
wingspan,
chains daddy.
he has a lot to live up to. Poor Az. He's like, just give
He's
me a
also
chance.
just really bad at his job. Like, people are always getting shit over on them, and it's like, are you the spy master?
Aren't you supposed to hear these secrets? Chapter 44 begins with Aelin waking from a nightmare with flames in her mouth and her eyes. The sheets are scorched, but thanks to Rowan's wall of air, the rest of the room is spared.
Which, thank God, they are literally on a ship in the middle of the ocean. That's terrifying.
Everything about that sounds terrible, like just being trapped in fire that you're supposed to be able to control and you can't.
But it's
like
also very fate was involved, because someone with that level of fire has a mate, the only mate capable of like containing it.
Yeah. As Aelin struggles to control her magic, Rowan tells her that he sees her and he's not afraid. She repeats the words that she learned from Sam, "I will not be afraid," and slowly regains control.
Then Rowan is the one that can't calm down. Do you remember that scene in Crescent City where like Hunt was like electrified they were under the sea in the boat, and it was like before they had sex, and everyone was like, "Hunt, calm down." And he was like in some sort of primal state.
Yeah,
Do you
but I've
remember
forgotten
that?
like what kicked that off. Like,
Yeah.
he was like prepared to die to
Mhm.
protect her, and then it was like, okay, but he's like, the adrenaline's still flowing.
Well, for this, Rowan just needs like something to do. So she's like, "Go get me some water." And he's like, "Okay." And then it says he pads over to get the water. I don't know why, but like he's 500 years old and he's padding. Something about that is gross. I don't like that word, because I just picture him being like, dee, dee, dee.
It's the pads of your feet. I don't know. I just imagine like little footsteps.
Like, why is his whole foot not fitting? I don't know why. That's so funny to
Rowan
me.
thumps over to go get her some water.
Walks. But Rowan lost control because he didn't know how to get Aelin back. And I would say this is one of the biggest differences between Aelin and Bryce. he's like, Rowan is like, before you call me a territorial Fae asshole, let me apologize and explain. But Rowan isn't human, and Aelin doesn't expect him to be. She says that. And the Territoria Alpha whole thing, it's a lot, but it did work. It pulled her out of whatever was happening. It's almost like SJM saw how much we loved Aelin and tried to do that with Bryce, but it was missing something. Like, I love, like, Crescent City book, House of Earth and Blood. I loved Bryce. But something, I don't know if it's like the empathy or something that Aelin had that Bryce didn't, but it's, and Bryce and Hunt just weren't as ride or die as Aelin and Rowan.
Aelin has a maturity that Bryce doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, even if they're the same age or very, I can't remember, Bryce is 22, 23, maybe a little bit older, but there's just, maybe it's more has happened to Aelin. I don't know.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
because she, and Hunt's not perfect. He did some stupid shit too. But the way Aelin handles things with Rowan is very different
It's
than Bryce
also,
and Hunt.
Aelin very quickly assesses what's going on with Rowan. Like, she sees very quickly that he
Yeah.
was worried that Deanna had taken her back or she wasn't in control in some way. And so somehow she assessed that very quickly, you know, and like Bryce kind of didn't seem to make a lot of effort to assess anything that Hunt was feeling.
Yeah.
Just said Runt. Poor Hunt. There just maybe was some potential emotional development lacking for Bryce,
I think so too.
which just, it made it hard to support the character in some of those scenes with Hunt. Rowan wishes that he had more to offer, like what a marriage to a foreign kingdom could, but one, they don't exactly have time to visit Love Island, and two, Rowan is all that she needs. Aelin hopes that if they survive the war, they can learn to relax.
That's a lot like the conversation that Kale and Irene had at the restaurant in Antica, just like learning to actually live if they live through this. And first we had Boyo, and then in this section she says like, oh, och.
I would say, ach.
Ach. It's like all of a sudden we're all Scottish.
Actually, you might even not pronounce the C. Maybe it's just, oh.
I don't know. Like, it reminds me of, do you remember that comic, Kathy? That she was like, ack. You know what I'm talking about?
No, what?
It was like a comic strip, and her name was Kathy, and she was always like, ack. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No,
God,
sorry.
Is that a fever dream? I swear
Maybe.
that's real.
But also, you point this out, and I listened to this in Audible, and however they say it, I didn't even notice it. So it must be pronounced like or something.
Maybe.
No, I have to go back and look it up just to see. But yeah, the terminology she's falling into in this book. Their cabin isn't the only one that's on fire, though. Manon wakes to Dorian, who asks if she's the one who sent out that ripple of power.
Maybe this is how the Bloodhound finds them. Like, I don't know if it's the magic that Aelin loses control over, but then I guess she was also trailing Manon's scent.
I mean, Manon was bleeding like across the kingdom.
Yeah.
So maybe it's that as well. Manon explains that the only magic witches are capable of is called the yielding. A witch can summon great power and unleash it, but the cost is their life.
It's like what did they used to call that in Japan? The planes that
it's like a kamikaze.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally, it's everything all at once, but you go down with it. As the Iron Teeth Witch yields life to the darkness, which question mark is that
capital
hell?
D darkness? I don't
or is
know.
that a different?
Is that like
realm?
The void?
Well,
the
because
cauldron?
When we were talking earlier about like hell with one L, is that the same thing as the hell Manon thought she was waking up in? When she constantly says "till the darkness takes you," I'm like, is this hell or is this separate?
I don't know. Do they even know?
So many questions. But anyway, the Iron Teeth Witch yields life to the darkness, and its power fills her and unleashes from her in an ebony wave.
And this is why I think Mor is a witch. Why else would Rhys say that if the armies fail and Cassian and Az are dead, like, I don't even want to think about that. But if she were, I mean, like, what is she going to come in and tell everyone the truth? I just feel like that to me sounds like a last resort is a yielding.
I mean, unless Mor can be like a nuclear bomb, I'm not sure.
But that's like a yielding.
But like, that doesn't feel like enough power.
Yeah.
Well, because the yielding is definitely like a bomb because we
Mhm.
do see more of it later, but I don't know, Moore must be just a very powerful witch. She definitely could be.
I definitely think she could be a witch, and I want everyone to keep in mind how Manon describes the yielding and ebony wave, because I think that part is important for another theory that we'll talk about in Kingdom of Ash. But and I don't wanna say too much because it's spoiler free, but what happens when you don't yield yourself to the darkness? You know?
You mean like if you were to yield yourself
But
to
not
something else?
yeah. Like, is that possible?
Is there well, yeah, is there another way to call upon this power, or is it like a because you've almost like selling your soul, like you've agreed to
Yeah.
like give yourself to the darkness, they gives this in return?
Mhm.
Interesting. Dorian asks if the Iron Teeth will use the yielding against them, and if they're lower level and think that it's the only way to achieve glory, then yes, they probably will. But older covens choose to fight their way out instead.
Dorian calls it murder, which this is war, and Manon asks if he's ever killed anyone.
He opens his mouth to say no, but when he was collared, the Vogue inside him killed. Manon tells him to remember what they did when he faces them again.
Then the mood changes, and Manon wonders if Dorian might make her beg for the first time in her long life. He leaves at first, and you're like, oh no, but then he comes back. And after hearing her verbal consent, uses his invisible hands to grab her wrist.
He kisses her, then pulls back and sees something in her eyes that makes him step back.
Then he leaves her with like whatever the female equivalent of blue balls is, like blue box.
A blue box?
Blue he leaves her blue box. But is he in this moment, whatever he sees in her eyes, is it the power dynamic, like about a woman not being able to consent while being a prisoner? Or does he like does Dorian see himself in Manon, like someone who's broken and has lost everything and he's like, oof, this is too real.
I can't tell if it's a bad thing because she does mention that the look in his eyes is cold. Like, it looked
Mhm.
very much like he's like, "I'm just showing you that you think that I'm a little boy, but
Yeah.
I can get your attention." Like, I don't what is the thought behind that?
Well, and a lot of the characters in this series are not really mirror characters, but like Lorcan and Elide are lonely and they struggle with self worth. Adie and Lysandra have all of this trauma, like not being in control of their own bodies and their lives. Dorian and Manon have lost identities. Kale and Irene struggle to find the balance of duties and like still living life. The only ones that don't really fit it are Aelin and Rowan because they more complete each other than mirror each other, you know?
I think they mirrored each other in Winland, though. But,
Just
like, in
in like
Mistward,
yeah.
just, like, drowning in their sorrow and not I don't wanna say wallowing, but not
Mhm.
being able to find a way back out of it. Like, it
Yeah.
was different sorrows, different things, but, like, their guilt for
Mhm.
it. So, it's a trauma all on its own to have that kinda guilt and shame. So, maybe that's kind of a mirror.
I love Rowan. Like, he was, until this reread, probably my favorite MMC, but the more we're, like, delving into character arcs, I'm like, "Do we actually get that much from Rowan?" Like, don't come for me because I love Rowan, but is there more to Rowan's character and personality than being Aelin's mate? Like, I love them, I ship them, but I don't know if I'm making any sense, but, like and it could be Rowan's age, like, we're seeing huge arcs for Adian, Dorian, Chaol because they're coming of age, and so a lot's changing, but I'd say Lorcan's had a lot of growth and change too, and I'm just like, "Do I actually know Rowan that well?"
I feel like the way that some of these characters are told, you get more of their personality and their struggles until their relationships are, like, actualized.
Mhm.
And then things kinda settle because now that Rowan is with Aelin, we don't I mean, like, we just don't see a lot of his personality.
Yeah.
And, like, he'll give some strategy and give some direction, but he lets Aelin wear the pants, and we just don't see as much from him. And maybe he is more like the strong, quiet type, but it didn't sound like that in Winland because
Yeah.
she was talking about all the stories he told. I don't know, like, and maybe before, since they were both struggling, we saw more of his struggles until now he's in a safe space where he doesn't have to worry as much.
Mhm.
I see what you're saying. I don't
Yeah, it's like I love Rowan, but the more we go into, like, these deep talks about some of these other characters, and it's like, I get to know them better, I'm like, "Do I know Rowan that well?"
Well, because that's the other thing, half the stories that we heard about in Winland were like us as the reader hearing from Aelin.
Mhm.
It wasn't like Rowan was actually telling them to
Right.
Aelin. It's more like we were just being told about it. So I could see where we could use a little bit. It would just be
Yeah, a little
nice
more
to have some
personality.
more.
Even like I don't know, like there's not as much there's so much humor, like unintentional with Lorcan or like Fenris or I mean, we don't get a lot from Gavriel either, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's just a little bit more of the ribbing. And there is some like Rowan's there for that too. Like even when they're just placing bets on how far accurate he can
Yeah.
shoot an arrow, it just I would be happy to have more because we do see so much from Aelin, and there's nothing wrong with them being like a yin and a yang. Like he doesn't have to have a big, strong personality.
Yeah.
We
They are
just
very yin and yang.
we just want more because we like him.
Yeah.
Whatever the reason for Dorian leaving last night, Manon is still pissed when Adian takes her
And he's
breakfast.
just holding his nose like, and that's none of my business. But it's our perceptive queen who calls it. Lysandra says Dorian probably wants the opposite of what he had with Sorsha, someone dangerous, less breakable, someone he will actually fuck, hopefully.
Yay! Adian and Aelin grill Manon about little Alid Lorcan that morning too. I was about to say little Alid Lorcan.
Little Alid Lorcan.
Little Alid. God, can you imagine her being Alid Lorcan Lorcan?
Lorcan Lorcan.
Oh, Lorcan would not be his last name, Elle. Duh.
Do you think his name is Lorcan Lorcan?
No, that would be so. I forgot his last name. Is it Salvatore? I've already forgotten.
Well,
that.
it is. What were we talking about? Oh, Wrath, son of Wrath.
I think in the TV show he actually says
Yeah,
I'm Wrath,
Wrath.
Wrath, and you're like, what? Anyway, little Alid Lorcan is still alive, and that morning too. Wait, okay, I start that over. Aideen and Aelin grill Manon about little Alid Lorcan that morning too. Not only are they shocked that she's alive, but Aideen and the Bane visited Perrance several times.
And that's actually so sad because he wonders, did Alid watch us come and go thinking that we'd forgotten or didn't care about her?
I mean, we do know that Alid had those thoughts that nobody thought
Mhm.
about her, but again, they didn't know you were up there. It is really sad. Aelin also did not love hearing that Manon left Alid in Oakwald.
I can't tell if it's empowering, like Manon believed Alid was capable, or like this girl has a limp and she can't read. Why the fuck would you leave her?
I mean, even if she didn't have a limp and can't read, she's important to me. Why the fuck would you leave her? I mean, I'd be pretty pissed regardless.
Yeah, I think I mean at the time we thought it was pretty ridiculous.
But also just you barely got her away from Morath and danger, and she's just a little woman out on her own.
A little woman.
Well, she's tiny. Isn't she like really petite?
No, she has big boobs.
I don't know how she didn't topple over. But the whole point is you just left her out there
Yeah.
alone, like through a forest. Like that's not a quick.
I don't think Manon is used to women not being able to handle themselves. You know, like I think
Yeah.
that if you come from the witch culture, you're like, you're good, right? Okay, bye.
Well, Manon cares a lot about Alid, but she cares more about the 13. So there's been
Yeah.
a lot of times where
It's not the 14.
she put some effort into caring for Alid, but she didn't necessarily go the extra step. Like,
Right.
so I respect that Aelin was like, no, this is not going to fly.
Right. There's
Nice.
also so much tension on this boat in general, like Aelin and Manon, but then Manon and Dorian, a different kind of tension, but also Aideen and Gavriel, who Gavriel is spending most of his time with his emotional support Wyvern Abraxos.
Which is adorable.
And it is under the guise of like, I need to learn everything I can about the Wyvern, but I think he's just kind of sad.
Yeah. Well, because like nobody's there to support him. Aideen does not want to hear you feel bad about what happened to his mom. It's too late for that. So who's he going to talk to? Fenris? Lysandra is like, I, for one, would like to hear the story of how he met your mother, though. And he's kind, unlike that fuck Fenris.
I don't know how they don't love Fenris. I think he's hilarious. And
I
he's like
mean-
beautiful.
I think Fenris at this point has just been like, what's the phrase? Like taking the piss. Like I think he's just constantly like
He does seem to be pushing everyone's buttons, but and
teasing them.
Fenris is another character it takes a while to get to know because he gives little brother energy. And maybe that's because he's been the youngest in the cadre for a while.
Well, and I mean, aside from that time when we saw him feeling wistful about Aelin and Rowan, you're right. He has been the little brother. So he's been
Mhm.
picking at them for attention for so long that they're probably just like, God, Fenris, whatever.
Well, maybe that's part of the reason they don't see what's coming because they've just been ignoring Fenris because he's getting on everyone's nerves. Like, number one, people are just trying not to scent because there's too many scents on this boat.
And nobody's bathing.
And well, no one's bathing, but then everyone's either thinking about fucking or actually fucking.
Okay.
So there's that scent, and then Fenris is getting on your nerves. So you're like turning your senses off.
It is too much. When they aren't gossiping, Adian is either counting down the minutes until Lysandra
Oh.
comes back from patrolling, or he and the others are taking turns training her in weapons and hand-to-hand combat.
And there are little moments that just make me love Dorian. Like he scoots down to make room for Lysandra, and it's so small and unimportant, but it's easy to forget Dorian is a king. Like imagine, like it's just like, and she still has the mark on her skin.
Yeah, even if she hadn't previously been forced into a life of prostitution, as a king, they usually bow to nobody, take no consideration for anybody else, regardless of their
Mhm.
station. And he's like,
He's
just
just so sweet.
like without even having to think about it, he's like, "Oh, let me scoot over for you," which is so sweet. But maybe it's a
Or is the
little
bar in hell? Like, are we seeing a guy scoot down and I'm like, "Oh my god, he's perfect."
unfortunately, probably both. But maybe it is a little bit too easy to forget that he's a king. Dorian makes a case for letting Manon out.
And where he fucks up is saying, "Let's lock y'all up and see how you do." You're talking to a female who was in Endovier and a male who was tied to a blood oath for hundreds of years. I don't think you want to play that card. And I understand Aylin's hesitation. Like, yeah, Manon has helped us in the past, and she says she's no longer Iron Teeth, but I would be scared that it was all a trick.
Well, all Aelin really knows about the Iron Teeth or witches at all, besides from like Baba Yellowlegs, are the stories that she heard from Ansel.
Mhm.
So I don't know any good things about witches, and Manon might have saved you the last time I saw her. She's trying to kill me and Rowan and all
Yeah.
my people. So like I understand the hesitation, but at the same time, I think Dorian was right. Like she is chained up in a room. Like, of course she wants out for a minute. You've
Yeah.
been chained before. You should understand more. It kind of is a moment to make Aelin have a little empathy, humanity. Like he's trying to get her to pause for a second. Like think about. I mean, I wouldn't say his approach is the best, but like it is important that she think about it and consider.
It's the same for Manon. Like, I think being chained up like that probably gives her a new respect for Elide.
Yeah,
Like, kind of humanizes her a little bit.
and she doesn't have any kind of supernatural strength. Like
Mhm.
she was just stuck like that from a young age. Dorian also has to remind Aelin that he's a king too, you know.
And Aelin is probably in her head running through like all the ways that she could absolutely crush Dorian, like crush his spirit. Because it is a little annoying that the first time that he is speaking up as a king is for his crush. This is the first time he's had a real opinion. Like, you're always looking to me for decisions, but now you're a king? But Aelin actually compromises, like 50% for Dorian and 50% because Manon does have a lot of information about Morath and Erewhon. So, like, they do need to talk to her.
I mean, you're not wrong also because poor Dorian, they're still thinking of him as like that playboy prince that he was before and not necessarily giving him enough credit. So the fact that he's asking about a potential love interest when everybody can smell your lust, you're
Yes.
like,
Oh, now you're
mm,
gonna be king.
okay. Manon can leave the room if she's guarded and the shackles stay on her wrists.
Instead of just taking the win, Dorian stays sassy. Why couldn't my face have been why she turned when yours is what turned Rowan from a blood oath? Gavriel's like, you should probably calm your loafers, Majesty. It really must be so annoying sometimes to be around these children. Like if you're Rowan, Fenris, and Gavriel, but especially Rowan and Gavriel, it's like when you start dating someone and you have to hang out with their friends.
Uh-huh.
Like, do you just think Rowan sometimes is just like staring off into space, like, Jesus Christ?
Well, especially when they're all so painfully young and you're
Yeah.
like, God, did I make a mistake here? As she walks down to Manon's cabin, Aelin is thinking, I wish Kael were here just so I could see his face.
Oh, can you imagine? Like, Kale would be like, you're not letting your dick near iron teeth.
Kael.
There are a couple of mentions of Fenris like following Aelin around, and I don't know if that was supposed to be foreshadowing or clues, but it's like I don't know. I don't know if it's like he's following her around because they're all drawn to her because we see that later on of like another character just being drawn to her because of her power and like I guess her aura. But it's a couple times like Fenris is following Aelin around. And then they walk into Manon's room, and Manon's like, "Who the fuck is this?" And Dorian's like, "Well, this is Fenris. You've met him before." But she says, no, it's not. Why can Manon, a witch, scent what Fey males couldn't scent?
We talked about this offline because in theory, a fae should have much stronger senses than a witch, especially since they're part animal in some forms. So it doesn't add up unless this is probably thinking too hard on it. The Bloodhound and the Ilkin, like Morath, they gave them some kind of power where they can null the magic of these supernaturals, like
Mhm.
especially with the Fae. But what am I trying to say? But Manon doesn't have any magic. She is a supernatural creature, but
So, like, it
there's
doesn't work on her?
yeah, so maybe because the Bloodhound is nulling the magic that these Fae could have, it's like a blanket on their senses
No,
in
that makes
general.
sense, yeah.
I don't know if that would count because even when she says it doesn't smell like him, I can't remember whose POV it is. Is it Adian's POV? I can't remember the
It
POV.
switches back and forth.
Well, whoever's POV, like they are like scenting the room and they still can't. They're like it's so faint, which it shouldn't be.
But
Like you
there's
guys
also
are,
a ton of pheromones on the ship, so maybe that's
there's no telling, but they're in a very small enclosed space, so like that's a prime time they should easily be able to scent Fenris, and they still can't. So
Mhm.
I have no idea if that's what it is. If it's just something so subtle, but it is weird that Manon is very clearly like no, and it
No.
still takes them a minute. Like what? It's not until like Fenris's or quote air quote Fenris, his skin starts to melt away, revealing Erewhon's bloodhound beneath. Aelin basically starts roasting the bloodhound, whose eyes immediately go to Lysandra. She hisses shifter, and then longing twists in its features. Aelin guesses that the bloodhound was once a shifter before Erewhon turned her.
Which is, 1, really sad, but also 2, is it possible the Bloodhounds in Crescent City are somehow connected to this? Like, the Shifters in Midgard come from the Fae in Aurelia, but could there be a little shapeshifter in there?
I
Could there
don't
be
see
a
why
little
not.
Bloodhound in there? But
There's definitely got to be some kind of connection
yeah.
with the bloodlines over time that have merged that.
Side note, you know who's suspiciously good at scenting? Eris. Like, there's a moment when Cassian is shocked that Eris can scent more on him, and I don't know if that's a hint to his abilities, like him being really good at scenting, or if it's a potential bond or broken bond between Eris and Moore. Like, if he's
Wow.
scenting his mate, or is there something more to Eris and his abilities?
That feels kind of unique with like Eris's abilities.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and like reread through that in details and
I
think on
can't
it.
wait to get back into ACOTAR.
There's so much to discuss now that we've deep dived Crescent City and Throne of Glass. The Bloodhound's eyes go murky as if she's no longer here, and realizing that she's communicating with Erewhon, Aelin attacks the Bloodhound with her flame, and it works until it doesn't.
And Lorcan says something like this too, but Erewhon has been planning and experimenting for a while. He knew who he was going to go up against, and he's bred these creatures accordingly. They're not completely immune to magic, but they're made in a way that they have like natural defenses against it.
Which this makes it so unusual. I have more questions about whatever it is they can null magic because it's not like everybody has the same magic. The magic does not come from the same source for everybody. We're different species.
Mm-hmm.
We're different creatures that have magic. So whatever it's nulling, is it Fae specific? Because those are the people that we see surrounding Aelin, except for Manon, who doesn't seem to be affected. Or it gives me more questions because
Yeah.
we don't Lysandra doesn't have elemental magic, so we don't really hear about it affecting Lysandra at all either. I wonder if it's specific to like elemental magic because it doesn't stop Fenris from stepping through the black holes.
Mm-hmm. I'm
It's
also just curious about the experiments. Like, we know the Asteri fucked with breeding. That makes sense to me. And
yeah.
I know that the Vogue can possess someone. That makes sense to me. What is he experimenting with to make something like the Bloodhound? Like, what is he doing?
Is he using the word key or keys that he has to pull something forward? Is he just using word marks to like
I don't know. Like,
create a
what
circle
did
and do something
he
with black magic? Like,
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. Well, because even like if you think back to, oh gosh, I've forgotten if that was very, I guess it book 2 where Aelin was using the word marks to open a portal.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah, to
don't
talk to Nehemia.
I wonder if there was something he could do to open a portal or like make a circle and then use the word marks to draw something up and out. Like what? I mean, it's horrific, but also, the science side of it, I am kind of curious. How did we get here?
Well, I'm also like, okay, thinking about to Aelin opening that portal. Why hasn't Erewhon been able to use word marks to open a portal? Like to just like let his brothers hop through real quick.
That's a good question.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's probably dumb. Like there's probably like a very obvious answer that I'm just not thinking of, but I'm like, because that seemed to be another world. That wasn't her world.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
Or
it actually was that like was that the Hell Realm?
I don't know. Like now I'm having a moment. Like, should we know this? And we just totally forgot. Like why she could open a portal to that one place, but
Mm-hmm.
then she can't. Like they can't possibly open a portal to where
Yeah.
the other Volgar.
Or maybe it's just because it's been closed to that world specifically. I don't know. I don't even know. I could think about this all night and probably not have a.
Oh my gosh, I feel like we had to have read something about this, and I don't know why I can't pull it up. If anybody can think of anything, let us know. Otherwise, we'll have to deep dive and discuss again. The Bloodhound rips the porthole clean out of the side of the ship, but before she can fly away, she's hit with arrows shot by the real Fenris.
Who's like, guys, no one noticed?
How can you not love Fenris? Like he walks in with so much attitude, like, excuse me,
He's
let me
so
just save
upset.
you. And excuse me, how did you not like this creature was quiet? I never shut up. How did you not know it wasn't me? In her final moments, the Bloodhound taunts Manon, telling her, "Your second screamed when Erewhon broke her," and handing her Astron's braided leather band, a gift from a king of the Volg, to the last living Kraken Queen.
Manon tackles her, wrapping her iron-tipped nails around the Bloodhound's throat. But when the Bloodhound asks if she wants to know what Astron begged for when she died, and she brings up the unclean brand on her stomach and the stillborn baby, so you're like, okay, this must have actually happened, or how would she have all this
Yeah,
information?
why would she fucking know about that?
Manon freezes. An invisible hand snaps the Bloodhound's neck, and Manon whirls on Dorian like you were about to let her kill you. I just
Yeah.
saved you. But then they start hearing the screaming.
It's complete chaos. Abraxas and Lysandra are fighting Ilkin in the sky.
I love that they're like fighting together.
They're like teaming up. Sailors are being literally ripped apart. Ice and fire and arrows are flying. Lions and wolves are snarling and roaring.
This is terrifying.
Aedion is saved by his father, but they're both injured. I mean, like most of the ship, like that wasn't like our close cadre, has been like ripped apart.
Right. But not the people that matter, so who cares? Well, actually the cook. That RIP the cook, because they have to eat like oatmeal.
He did
for
matter.
the rest of the time.
We needed him.
Two Ilkin have Aelin cornered. Then Fenris, the real Fenris, in his wolf form, winnows in, and while he has one by the throat, the other slashes him with his poisoned claws.
Aelin pushes aside her flames and rallies that drop of water and healing magic that she inherited from her mother's line.
Which they talk about being really difficult because she's like consumed by flames. So to suppress that and let the water come forward, that would be really hard.
Considering how many like levels she's dropped through and like inside her power that are flames upon flames, that is amazing.
But it's also, you get the sense that she feels a lot, not more connected, but it's like she wants to be more connected to that drop of water magic than all of these flames.
Yeah, I think when she was and it makes you wonder because she talks about when she was a child, she wanted to be able to heal more.
Mm-hmm.
Is it because
she wanted to be a healer?
She's afraid of the flames? Has she always viewed the flames as only destructive instead of also being able to heal? But yeah, she definitely really wants that connection with her healing magic.
One of the Ilkin tells her not to bother. Fenris will be dead soon enough, and fucks off, but not before delivering the message they were sent with from Erewhon. "Thanks for confirming, bitch. You have the word mark in Skull's Bay. Bye." Then Rowan hits him in the head with an arrow. And everyone's like, wow, that was a really good shot.
Wow.
Which, killing these things is actually probably a mercy, because I know there were some that were probably like signed up. It's like the lessers in Black Dagger Brotherhood. Some signed up because of the power, but then some of them were just like tricked or kidnapped and experimented on.
Oh, that's definitely the people they were stealing and
But the fact that their personalities are gone. So I'm like, are they possessed? Is there a Vogue possessing these things? Because just because if you experimented on me, like, and turned me into something else, I'd still be like a little brat, you know?
I mean, like, are they possessed or have they been tortured and brainwashed to the point that they just don't care enough anymore
But they're
to
straight up doing his bidding. I feel like I mean, I don't know how brainwashing works. Maybe I would do the bidding of someone that experimented on me, but
or maybe there's just not enough of them left after the experimenting
mhm.
because they like didn't they say they smell human but like rotted meat? Like
Ugh,
they
yeah.
were human, but something's way off now. As Aelin is healing Fenris, the blood and poison leaking from his chest, she asks about his magic, which lets him slip between folds in the world for short
Romance
distances.
books have ruined the word folds for me. Lets him slip between the folds, you say?
Oh, whose folds? But yeah, he can't do it very much before he's drained.
Which again, it sounds like winnowing, but more like the Crescent City version where it drained them really quickly, especially Cormac. And I was thinking about our conversation last week because we were like, why does there seem to be so much more magic in Prithian? Like, there's a lot of it with Midgard, is what the Asteri, what they were doing. But Fae weren't actually native to Midgard. They weren't there until the Asteri brought them through. So I wonder, were there always Fae in Aurelia? Or are they also like transplants? Like, could a Prithian Fae, are they as powerful as they are because they're closest to the cauldron? And is that where they all came from?
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I feel like there's more information we'll get in Tower of Dawn related
Mm-hmm.
to earlier civilizations, but also there's a few things in Kingdom of Ash. I don't know how to begin to discuss this without accidentally
Yeah.
giving spoilers. I don't have a good answer, but I do have things that I wonder based on some information we'll get. So we'll definitely have to bring this up again to like rediscuss. Aside from teleporting, Fenris has your normal Fey abilities: speed, strength, and fast
And
healing.
he's gorgeous.
And he can shield, but he can't summon an element.
When Aelin asks what his shield is made of, then Gabrielle says arrogance. And Uncle Kitty Cat Friend made a joke. But also, it's a good question because what is his shield made of? I
I
don't
mean,
like, we see Gabrielle's eventually, it's just like a bright light. But I'm blanking on Fenris's because if you can't summon elements, you don't have wind or fire or ice, what are you drawing from for your shield?
I mean, your shield doesn't necessarily have to be an element,
I guess I
but
always picture it as an element.
I guess because a lot of our main characters tend to have elemental magic mixed in. So, but like Lorcan's is not an element and it's not like a substantial, like obvious bit of magic. He just has magic that he can manipulate in different
Hmm.
physical ways. So I wonder if there's something similar because Fenris does mention he can shield others too.
Yeah.
So, like, do we see a gold shield in front of us? Is it invisible? Like,
I don't know.
how does that work? We also get a lore dump in this chapter. Fenris and his twin Connell were the sons of nobles in the southeastern part of Maeve's lands. Their father and mother were warriors, but it was their mother who trained them. When they were 30, they finally convinced their mother to take them to Doranel with her, and Maeve took one look at them.
And we know what happened from there, but basically, Connell took the blood oath to Maeve. Fenris refused at first, but took the oath to protect his brother from what Maeve was forcing him to do, which Connell resents his brother for. Like, he thinks Fenris did it to take the attention away for himself. But the way that, so it's positioned like, I did this for Connell because what Maeve was forcing him to do. Was Connell being forced to be in Maeve's bed, or did he want to be?
Well, if the whole reason that Fenris took the blood oath was to protect Connell from Maeve's bed, why is Connell still attached to Maeve's bed?
Why is Fenris not upset about that? I'm upset about it on his behalf because, like, why did I even do this? Like, why did he sacrifice?
I do have some theories on this. Again, I think we haven't gotten as deep into Maeve's magic, and I don't know if that's going to be in this book or the next one,
Yeah.
but I do have some theories
Okay.
further on this one that we'll have to also rediscuss. Aelin tells Fenris that she's sorry he's bound to Maeve.
And it's like Lorcan and his little side quests. Sometimes you have to be in a healthy relationship or friendship to really open your eyes. Like, obviously, Fenris already hated Maeve, but when he's looking at what they're doing, he's like, this is what we're meant to do. We're supposed to protect and serve and cherish. Like, that's kind of ingrained in Fae male's DNA. Like, what Maeve is doing is a mockery of this. And Gabriel's like clutching his pearls.
I mean, but really, because it's not just about like serving and protecting others, it's about serving and protecting each other as well.
Hmm.
You know, something happens and Aelin jumps to and immediately goes to help. Like she doesn't question it. She doesn't stop and think, no, I'm more important. I'm the queen. I mean, even now she's burning herself out to help save Fenris.
Hmm.
She's not leaving it to Gabriel, who can pull on his healing magic faster and easier. She's really trying to help Fenris. And it's like that moment of like, this is a good person that
Hmm.
wants to do good. And Fenris is like, oh, I see. There's nothing behind, like, there's no, I'll help you if you help me. She's just helping.
And he thinks that's why Maeve sent him, so that he would have this little bit of happiness and joy and freedom and then have to come back. Like, that is so cruel. That's next level cruel.
Just the fact that he even has to think that about her says
I mean, it's
so
really for
much,
plot reasons because we need him to be in this storyline, but
but also it just says so much about Maeve
yeah.
and like what she's really like. Adian asks his father if he agrees, and Gavriel explains that he's also from a noble house, the youngest of three brothers. So he wouldn't have inherited or ruled, and instead became a soldier who eventually earned Maeve's attention. Gavriel is clearly uncomfortable with this convo, but he does admit that he hated the Blood Oath once and only wanted to leave once, and this gave me more questions. I think, I don't remember which episode, we talked about wondering if Gavriel was ever forced into Maeve's bed.
Mhm.
It feels kind of like maybe not, because if he had been, I feel like he probably would have wanted to leave Maeve more often
Yeah.
than just once. But also, it kind of gives you a
Or
moment.
he's like so into duty and honor. If he like sees something as his duty, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like serving his queen. Ooh.
I think that from what the cadre has seen, Maeve may not be like super sweet and kind, but she has been just. So like when she sends them to do things, they feel like they're helping, or they're not doing something cruel, they're
Mhm.
doing something just. And I guess Gavriel has just leaned on that because, when you see some of her like petty cruelty and the way that she's treated like Connell and Fenris, like, okay, maybe she's not doing it directly to Gavriel, but Gavriel, that didn't make you question your loyalty to her
Yeah.
or like being stuck with her? I guess not.
Gabriel tells Adian he would have followed his mother to the ends of the earth, but when she didn't want that, he respected her wishes. And there's like respecting boundaries, and then there's you need to fight for someone you love. Like just because someone's like, no, I don't want this, he never checked on her or like he just walked away.
I don't know, because
Like it's like he's too honorable.
if they never discussed his ties to Maeve and it just hasn't occurred to him because he's so stuck on that honor and like loyalty thing. I mean, if somebody's like, I don't want this anymore, I do respect that you're like, okay, this is not going to work. But I don't know. It would have to depend on their connection too. Like you guys didn't have more going
I would
on.
love a novella. I mean, it would end very sadly, but it was probably hot.
I don't know. It makes you wonder, like, if she said some cruel things, like,
Like get away.
trying to think who it is.
Old Yeller.
Oh, well, it's a scene. No, I'm thinking actually of Abraxas and Manon, like a scene we haven't
Oh
read yet.
yeah.
Just, I need you to go, and you're too
Mhm.
loyal, and you're like, get the fuck away from me. I'm trying to help save you. Go away. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder if she
I'm
said
trying to help
something
save our son.
to kind of like below the belt to make him like back off, that he's like,
Yeah.
okay. I don't know. Aiden is trying really hard to keep it together. So Aelin asks if Gabriel would have tried to break the blood oath for her, for Aiden, and even if it goes against his entire code.
He doesn't say yes.
No, Gabriel would not have broken the blood oath for them. And I think
He
this is,
just says I would have tried to get you guys out, but he doesn't say I would have broken the blood oath for
yeah,
you.
he says if she was going to hurt you,
Yeah.
I would have taken steps. But Aiden takes that to heart. Like, it sounds like in a good way. And I'm not saying that's not a good
I
thing,
thought
but
the exact same thing. Like Adian's like, "Oh wow, this changes things." And I'm like, "I think I'd still be pissed."
well, because he basically makes it sound like he questions the blood oath when, he meets Adian's mom, but not enough that he's like, I wish I could get out of this. I have to get out of this.
Yeah.
Like, at no point was it bad enough for him. And again,
Mhm.
if he wasn't forced into the bedroom, if he thinks he's doing just and honorable things, maybe it's not that bad. I just have a hard time
But
understanding
even this is
Gabrielle's
even like
perspective.
looking at it in retrospect of if you had known about like if you'd known what was really going on about Adian's existence, would you have tried to break the blood oath? And he still can't say yes.
Yeah, no, he literally only said if he thought that they would be harmed. So, okay.
Okay, thanks. By the next morning, everyone is on the mend, but they've seen better days, including poor Abraxos, who Manon stayed with all night.
Oh,
Manon asks Dorian about his magical hands, and he says they feel like an extension of himself.
that's fun.
That's very because he's like a shadow daddy, but he's not.
Mhm.
But that part makes him a shadow daddy, and that's one of my favorite, like, if you've ever read Flesh and Fire, the prequel series to Blood and Ash, that main character, Nyktos, is a shadow daddy and uses his shadow hands. It's very sexy.
It is sexy. She asks why he killed the bloodhound so quickly,
What
and
for one, the Bloodhound was about to kill you. Remember you froze because she said that about Astrid?
I'm kind of confused, to be honest, because when he I guess maybe he's trying to snap her out of her pain, because when he first kills the bloodhound, he says to her basically, like, "Stop playing with your food," but she wasn't. She
Mhm.
froze, so, maybe he was just saying that to, like, snap her out of it. But Dorian also says that there's a line even with your enemies, and she says that that's the answer to the unasked question in his eyes if he's becoming a monster.
It's easy to forget Dorian has only killed his father. I mean, it's a big kill, but as himself, like, obviously, there's what happened while he was possessed, but that wasn't really him, and he hasn't had time to process anything that's happened, including Sorsha, who is clearly at least part of the reason I think Dorian would have been attracted to Manon anyway, but Manon is a lot harder to kill. She's gonna be a lot harder to lose, and the whole moral dilemma in war, it's the conversation between Manon and Dorian, it's a lot like Elide and Lorcan when he killed the man whose barge they stole, and it's something that Aelin struggles with, like, it's finding that line that you won't cross or, like, the greater good. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
some things you have to do are not gonna be good on, like, a micro level.
I think there are some lines that Aelin is aware of, but because she is willing to try to risk it all for the greater good, that makes it blurrier for her with what that line could be. Manon tells the group what she knows of the Ilkin, which isn't much since they were part of whatever Erewhon was doing in the mountains of Morath. Even her shadows, who can find anything, couldn't hunt or track them.
And hearing this, Aelin is just slipping on her grippy socks because Manon's saying, "I don't know what else Erewhon made. I don't know how many Ilkin there are." And Manon sees it and she's like, "Snap out of it." Which is what is that? Share? Snap out of it. But, like, you fucked up. They tracked you. Really, they tracked you, Manon, but they tracked you. You lost people. But this is war. If I were you, I'd be concerned, why did they send so few Ilkin? And it's like I was saying about Dorian's lack of experience. It's even easier to forget Aelin's. Like, because Aelin is so powerful, but she's only 19 or 20. She's never been in war. She was an assassin, but that's very different than strategizing, like, literally a war over the world. Like, you don't wanna hear it, but Manon has over a century of experience, especially of training and of being a leader. Like, this is someone else that you need to, like, have on your team and actually listen to.
Well, and Aelin has spent a lot of time thinking through different situations and the pitfalls. And I feel like if there's ever a pitfall or like a negative thing that could happen and she's forgotten it, she like beats herself up over it. But
Yeah.
even if you had known that Erewhon could potentially find out you have a word key, like you didn't know he was going to come attack you there. Like, what are your other options? You have to fight back in Ilium.
You have to
You
move on.
you needed Ilium. So like even if you had known he could potentially find out, you still would have made the choices that you made. So it's more like almost like she's kicking herself for not considering that that could have happened, but
Mhm.
you can't know everything. You're not is it omnipotent? All-knowing?
Yeah.
You know, like there's a limit. You're considering so many different outcomes, thank God. Sometimes there's a negative outcome you didn't consider, and it's gonna happen, and you can't beat yourself up. You're gonna have to move forward because people are counting on you.
I had this conversation with my boss.
Okay.
One time I was getting not, like, getting in trouble, that sounds very, like, I'm in school, but there was a disagreement, and he just kept going on and on and on, and I was like, "Let's move forward." Like, I can't go back in time and not do what I did. What's next step? Like, I fucking hate when people just spiral, and talk about something over and over and over again. I'm like, "Okay, let's fucking move forward."
Yeah. I mean, like, if this is something that could potentially happen again, like, okay, yeah, it's fucking annoying, but what can we do to prevent it the next time? We got
Yeah.
other things to do. Let's not wallow here. But I get it too. If it's something I personally did, I also like can't stop like overthinking it, and it's hard for me. Like if it's anybody else, I'm like, okay, here's what we could do. Let's go
Mhm.
on. I do get it if it's me.
Well, and a lot
I
of
rethink
the
it.
sailors who were under her protection did die, and
Yeah.
that would weigh on you.
I mean, not just in Skulls Bay, but here after the
Mhm.
Ilk tracked them, which
I
technically
mean, the
was
cook.
yeah. I mean, I get it. It's terrible, but you didn't know what you didn't know, and now you learn from it and you go forward.
Mhm.
Manon tells the group about her grandmother stripping her of her title as heir and wing leader, and her father being a Kraken prince.
And they seem surprised and like, did they not hear the bloodhound?
I think they've had too many things all at once to sort
Yeah,
through.
it's a lot of surprises. But it means Aelin isn't the only queen on board. Manon is the last Kraken queen. Something Manon found out about after a lifetime of killing Krakens, now she's banished. She doesn't know where her 13 are. So yeah, you're not the only one going through it, but we have to get our shit together and figure out what to do next. And Manon is like 50% talking to Aelin, but then also talking to herself because she was just like laying in bed for 3 days depressed.
Yeah.
But have you ever gotten like so frustrated with someone else and then been like, oh my God, it's me? Like I'm frustrated with myself. I'm seeing myself in this person.
I don't even know if Manon has put together that she's talking to herself, but I guess, sometimes when
Like, do you
you're
just want to hold up a mirror?
but, like, if nothing else, there have been times, like, when you're trying to help a friend and you're talking through, like, oh god, like a relationship problem, and you're like,
Yeah.
"And then this happened to me," and then you, like, work out something for yourself, whether you mean to or not, like, in Manon trying to help, like, push Aelin forward, she's like, "Okay, I have to make a
Yeah.
decision because I didn't wanna talk to the Krakens, I don't wanna do anything, I'm not a Blackbeak," and now she's like, "Okay, what are we doing?"
Hmm.
"Okay, Manon." Like, that's positive,
I
good.
love that we're a we. I love them together.
I love that we're going to be we. Like, I need you guys to both, like, put your heads together, think this through,
They
like,
could put some
let's
things together.
there are a lot of things to put together, but, like, let's make a plan, you know? Fenris asks why Aeron would even let Aelin and Dorian live, like, why not kill them way before they matured into their power?
I wonder if SJM put that in several times because it really doesn't make sense
Yeah,
of why. But they assume it's because Aelin escaped and was in hiding, so everyone assumed she was dead. Did they assume she was dead? I guess they assumed she died in the river, but then Dorian's father shielded him somehow, even though he wasn't in control 98% of the time.
well, like, when they didn't find her body, especially considering she was killed by one of Erewhon's assassins, I do wonder why they didn't try to, like,
Find her.
sort that out,
Mhm.
or, like, did they and they just assumed she floated downriver and, like, did they make that assumption?
Maybe
Because
the guy, like, told Erewhon, like, "Yeah, I killed her with my hands. I didn't lose her." Like, he was, like, scared to get in trouble.
I mean, because they saw her go into the water, which
Mhm.
would cut off a scent trail, and then magic was gone, so it's not like she would accidentally show her power again.
Yeah.
I don't
And we know
know.
there was, like, a little fate involved in that night, but it's like Sarah just needed to try to explain because it really doesn't make a lot of sense why the grunt or whatever inside Dorian's father wouldn't have killed him once Holland was born.
But it also doesn't make sense that for, like, 10 years, I guessed Erewhon was, like, building his power around Aurelia, and then it suddenly all kicks up. Still no magic on the continent, but it all kicks up, like, in
Right
Throne
when
of
Aelin and
Glass.
yeah.
So, like, there still had to be some kind of impetus? Is that what like, something that, like, kicked it off? Like,
Yeah.
what but it still doesn't answer why now, you know? Like, maybe it just took that much time? Even if Erewhon didn't know that Aelin was alive, though, Maeve probably did. You know, Maeve is on a continent that does have magic. She seems to have an ungodly amount of power.
She has some seer
Yeah, I was
abilities.
gonna say she also is able to see a lot into the future, so did that help? Could she have told
Mhm.
Erewhon? I mean, as Adian points out, everybody has a price, but at that, Fenris says nameless is the price of Maeve's allegiance. It can't be purchased.
Aelin is triggered. We first heard Nameless when it was the duel with Cain at the end of book 1. A symbol appears on Aelin's forehead that's the bastard's mark, aka Nameless, and Brannon was a bastard. So it kind of morphed into being Brannon's mark. And then we hear it in book 2 during Aelin's convo with Baba Yellowlegs, who Manon confirms was a powerful oracle. And she asked for the witch's price for information about the word keys in the word gate, and Baba says, "Nameless is my price,"
Now hearing Fenris say the same phrase, something has clicked for Aelin.
which we're not going to get into because we're spoiler free. But Aelin is so disturbed and upset that she's in the bathroom puking.
She's also
And
locked.
Rowan's like, what?
She's locked the door and won't let Rowan in. But like that's the moment. First of all, I don't need to be in there. You can have your moment.
Well, he says that he can't scent if she's pregnant because the scent of vomit is so overpowering.
Well, I mean, it's not like he's never seen her like vomit before.
I
so,
know,
like,
she's like, don't look. And he's like, I've seen you piss yourself.
why do I have to be locked out this time? But
Mhm.
she asks that he get Lysandra.
I do love that she has that friend.
Gosh. Yeah, it's just there's so many things that pop up in this scene.
Mhm.
You're like, is it just a concern that she could be pregnant? Like, what is it?
And I don't love that he just flaps away. I mean, I guess that she's not letting him in, but like thinking that she might be pregnant, Rowan shifts into a very anxious bird to get some air. And when he sees the coast, Eelway is burning. But who gives a shit? I'm kidding. I give a shit. But it's also time to live, laugh, Lorcan for the second time in this episode. What a blessing. And Elide and I are on our periods at the same time.
Yeah, but you're like always on your
Wow.
period.
I really am. I really am.
I just was thinking when you said you didn't love that Rowan shifted into a bird, like I mean, he needed a moment to just like, I guess, take a deep breath and process that because the last time he was supposed to have a child, she died and he couldn't protect her.
No, there's a lot of trauma related to like pregnancy and yeah.
But also like don't leave,
Yeah.
like you can go into the air, just like hover around the ship or something.
Well, I
you know?
think I have PTSD from the time that he when is it?
He took off when he saw her scars.
Yes, when he saw her scars, he left and that upset us. And now I'm
Yeah.
like
I
thinking
think,
of that.
at that time he like was running off to go yell at Maeve and you're like, you didn't think that through.
As a bird. He
Well,
was
I
gonna
mean,
yell at her.
I'm sure eventually he wouldn't be, but well, anyway.
I know, but it's funny to think about him landing and
Like-
then just yelling at her.
Since I have been listening to Harry Potter, it's so funny. I forgot how much they talk about like Hedwig, his owl, like clicking her beak and giving attitude. And like now you're saying that, and I just imagine like Rowan landing and his little beak snapping and him pecking around, like getting mad at her.
I've been watching this. I wish I could remember. It's this woman on TikTok who has this series about why Dumbledore is a villain.
Oh.
And I'll have to send it to you because a lot of the points she makes, I'm like, yeah.
Ooh, okay.
He did kind of let some shitty things happen to people because he knew that's what needed to happen to like push things forward.
I mean, does it make you a villain? Like there's a moment
I don't know.
where it's like you don't want to know too much. But that'd be the same thing if you were like a seer or an oracle. What is it? Is it Vicious who can see all of his brother's deaths?
Yes.
But he can't see when. But like also if I don't let some of these terrible things, it's a butterfly effect, happen to you. I'm apparently a Dumbledore apologist. But if I don't let this happen to you, what worse thing could happen? I would be interested to see what her theories are. Just like
I can be
'cause I'm
convinced of
curious.
anything. Like if you tell me anything with confidence, I'm like, oh yeah.
Everybody has a different perspective. So I'm always interested to hear because I'm like, oh, I hadn't thought of it like that. I'm not cool with that. Well, back to Elide's and Kate's periods.
Yeah. It's
Sorry,
like
go on.
Elide is getting her period so much because she feels safe. And like, I've never felt safe in my life. Why do I have my period all the time?
I mean, is it because she feels safe, but also she's getting enough to eat and
That
can
too.
sleep?
I mean,
Like-
I'm eating enough.
Well, I mean, but there's a very big protective Fae, a big protective Fae warrior.
I don't
like,
have that.
yeah, no maze, but like protecting her, like so she can actually sleep without worrying about somebody sneaking into her room.
Yeah.
Like, there's several things.
I worry about that all the time.
But yeah, so good news, Elide's healthy enough to have a period.
And the bad news is it's back with a vengeance. And the worst news is Lorcan can scent it. And he's like, that's really heavy compared to your last period. Like, who needs a tracking app when you have Lorcan?
Just the fact that he's like, you still smell like blood. Gross.
Yeah, I know. Thanks.
I don't want to think about it. Why are you? She realizes that being around Lorcan again has made her feel safe enough that her body is starting to act like normal.
Which is actually crazy when you remember they're currently on the run.
Yeah.
So in theory, this should be a very stressful time. But Elide knows that Lorcan will protect her. And this is somehow the most stable environment she's ever been in. Like, she didn't even have normal periods when she was locked in that tower.
This is also the first time Elide is fully herself without somebody trying to like curtail that, like adjust her in any way.
Right.
Like she didn't have Fenula trying to tell her she's not acting like a lady. She doesn't have to worry about like somebody
That bitch couldn't even read.
sneaking into her room or
Mhm.
like Vernon lurking around corners. Like, she doesn't have to worry about any of those things. So, like, the weird strangers out here are still better than whatever creeps we're in
And I
Morath.
love that just little details like Lorcan always sleeps closest to the door. I make my boyfriend do that as well in hotels.
Protection. Lorcan stops into town, but only because he had to stop anyways. Like, please. They split up, Elide looking for new clothes and Lorcan scaring people into giving him food.
Including a few pairs for the lady, only Elide hasn't been to this part of town. It's one of my favorite tropes in like horror movies or horror books. The wait, I never gave you that information, or wait, I didn't tell you my name. Like that moment, you know?
It definitely, I'm one of those that it gets me to. What is it? I'm thinking of Scream. Like, there's a moment where,
Mhm.
because, like, as the viewer, you know everybody's names, you know these
Yeah.
things, so you don't think about it, but you're like, oh my
But then
God,
you hear it, and then the person turns around, they're like, I never told you my
you weren't
name.
there for that. You're right. I didn't say that. Like, that is, it's fun, but also like, like, freaks you out. Switching to Elide's POV, she's led to a room in the back of an inn to try on a bundle of clothes.
She closes the door, and worst case scenario, no mirror. Elite is at an Aritzia. Why do they do that? I was just there this past weekend, and like, it's not like I'm trying anything on that's like super scandalous or whatever, but don't make me walk into the common room to look at the mirror.
What's Aritzia? Is that a store?
Yeah, no, it's in the Green Hills Mall, and
Oh.
they don't have mirrors in the dressing room.
Oh,
You have to go out.
why? So then everybody can judge how
I
it looks on
hate
me?
that.
Ew.
'Cause it was all like super cute girls, and I was like, I was trying on a jean skirt. I hyper fixate on things sometimes, and I'm like, if I don't get this, I'm gonna fucking die. And so I was trying on a jean skirt, and then I was like, what am I doing? But I hadn't shaved my legs in like a month.
Exactly, because it's supposed to be me by myself in a, like, dressing room.
Horrifying trauma.
That is traumatic. The door slams and locks, and she runs into something bony and leathery. The Ilkin's claws clamp down on her shoulders, and a candle is lit, revealing fucking Vernon.
Fucking Vernon. And that's where we'll pick up next week with Empire of Storms chapters 50 through 52 and Tower of Dawn chapters 36 through 40.
Oh, I'm so glad we're back. To be honest, like, I've enjoyed where we're going with Empire of Storms because a lot's happening, but I've kind of missed Tower of Dawn.
I know. I have found so much more space for like Tower of Dawn and Chaol in general.
Yeah, just
with this
breaking
reread.
everything up. There's not too much of anything. It's wonderful. But also, please help us not look like total losers with ratings and reviews.
Thanks, y'all.